Let the protesters eat MUET. I wrote this some time ago, and today a useful thought for the destroyers of the Malay mind. Let them eat MUET. By Azly Rahman. There is so much worry that the Malays are going to be left behind in the new English language requirements for university entrance, the Malaysian University English Test, MUET. There are so many groups making excuses that the kids from rural areas will be left behind. Well, hasn't this been an argument since time immemorial? Never-ending excuses for those speaking for the Malays. Here is my advice to those learning and teaching the lingua franca. You've got to work hard for it, just like anything else in life. We should have progressed a long time ago as a nation with good mastery of the English language had we not politicized the issue. It is time to grow up cognitively and have a do-or-die attitude towards the language if one really wants to get a good university education with English as a medium of instruction. Cry daily if you must, if you wish to master the language, or any language for that matter, or to master any skill. Look at what Bruce Lee, right, did with his art. All this talk about helping the Malays is not helping the Malays. Get on with the program, hit the ground running, and get tough with what you want your students and children to do with regard to mastering the language. Stop making excuses. It is not like all the Malaysian shop and road signs, even in Kelantan, are written in Urdu or Swahili. The situation is very bad. Maybe if all of us master the language, we could actually understand terms such as liberalism and human rightism without talking nonsense and confusing them with lebaism and animal magnetism, as propagated by the Islamic State. I'd like to share a poem I wrote last year for my English teacher on the occasion of her birthday. Ode to an English teacher. On the occasion of her birthday. Somehow or other. Every time I think of you, these verses come. Serenaded to me as a child, whose love for the language is immense. Maybe not so much because of the profundity of Beowulf, of Gilgamesh, of John Donne's poems, of Jonathan Swift's modest proposal, of the eerie opening words of Shakespeare's Macbeth, or the wonders of Keats, Shelley, and Byron, or of late, the beat poetry of Allen Ginsberg, of Howl and the velocity of money. Maybe not all these, but simple verses you taught us as a child. Learning to know the world, and to be friends with its wonders, and with the great books I would love to devour daily, till the end of time, because you have taught us the power of the word, as it becomes flesh, as it becomes bricks, walls, structures of power, in hope that they will come back to become a desiderata. You once taught us to read, to recite, as children, promised the world in which language, only language, makes reality, breaks reality, bends reality, becomes us. Ah! That was my tribute to my English teacher who taught me the beauty of the English language and how it has helped me explore other areas of knowledge such as philosophy, politics, anthropology, cybernetics, and a host of other fields of study. I am a strong proponent of a radical change in Malaysian education that ought to bring back English medium schools and to teach all subjects, except Bahasa Melayu, in the English language. This must happen at the secondary school level in order to have a generation of good citizens and workers able to not only do well in our universities sloganized by the idea of globalized campuses competing in this or that world rankings, but also for them to participate in challenging a global economy that still uses English language as lingua franca. Most importantly, I'd like to see Islamic studies be taught in English in order for the ideas of liberalism in all its intellectual glory to take root. This might be the best antidote to the Ebolaization of the idea of the Islamic State we are seeing as a global ideological pandemic. We must go back to the drawing board, and policymakers, especially politicians and ultra-Malay linguistic nationalists, must be honest with themselves. What is best for their children must also be made available to the children of the poor. And this includes challenging to greater heights those so-called children from the rural areas. But first, as the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said about teachers, educate, but first we must educate the educators.